Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial in camera and lens repair. And this time I will take my old In-Ai-Nikkor 200mm and its aperture 4. And I will show you how you can get, if there was some oil on the aperture plates. It's not the case here. You can see the plates looks really good and they are snappy. I know it's difficult to see, but we'll take a look inside. Now, we need some tools and a 2.5mm JIS screwdriver. You can see it here. I buy the set of 4 at ifixit.com. A small lens sucker could be quite useful, a thin tweezer and a homemade tweezer just for making aperture plates and other stuff. Some cotton buds, very useful, and a 1.2mm flathead screwdriver. This is a brand called Vera, which I like, and it's a flathead screwdriver. Some dentist tool, especially those with a flat end spade or so, and a pointy one with a pointy end. A measure thingy can also be very useful. And of course a lens blower. This is a one with the HEPA Jet 2, which is really good with a filter in one end, so it's only blow out dust-free air. We will need some nail polish remover, and we will use some isopropyl alcohol, 99%. I mean, it could also be 80 or 81, and I put it in a small glass bowl, which will be fine. Yeah, let's jump into it and see what we can do about it. And as I said, and also a lens cloth we can be when trying the blades. So let's see. To jump into it, and actually the aperture plates sits something up here in the end of the lens, I mean the focusing barrel. So I need to remove the whole section here. It will say the whole section here, and there's no need in this case. There's no need to take off that. No. We will simply loosen the really tiny set screw here, and simply unscrew this counterclockwise. So to do that, just loosen it, as that's enough. If it sits too tight, it can be so then sometimes it's good to have some nail polish remover and add it at a cotton bud, just a tiny drop, just to soften the thread lock if they have used something. And just show it and simply add a little over here and let it suck in. And it's not a problem here, but it could be in your case if it's so. So take really good care of when unscrew those and not using too much force if it's not necessary. So now we can unscrew this, I mean loosen it. Just a few turns, that's it. And with a good grip on it, up here, it should be possible to remove it. Of course, this one is very easy because I have been into to the aperture assembly and take a look. So this is how it looks inside here. We could just take a sneak peek here. I will not do anything with the lens element here because it's not really necessary in this case. But we can just take off the lens hood here, and here we can see inside there are 3 screws around. If you want to actually remove the part of the lens, front lenses here, and you can also take off the retaining ring here, but it's not the case here. So we will head off to head on to the just to keep in mind, just to screw this set screw in again, because then you know where it is. It's tiny. So now to get into the actual, you can see here there's no screws here, and this ring here is it sits with 3 screws around here, so we need to take that off. Actually, we need to take off the focusing ring around here off, and I mean, I could go in here, but yeah, I will just show it how you can come in. It's not really necessary to take off the mount here to come into the front. So maybe, yeah, I will just show it as straight as it is. Take off the rubber grip, and with a dentist tool or a toothpick or something, this is just what I prefer, so gently lift it up and get it a little bit, stretch it a little, so you can in that way move it forward. So, and then push it over the focusing ring, and then it's free. Now that we are inside here, to check what distance here, if you do something wrong when you disassemble things here, you could go wrong. So I will take off the mount anyway, because we need to measure something with the tool here. So if the screws, the 5 screws here, are really tight, we'll just use some nail polish remover with acetone, or just clean acetone, pure acetone. And it should just have been a little here, maybe a little more. It depends on how much and how tight the screws are. They are not tight in this case, but we will do it anyway. So that's fine for now. And so now we'll use the JIS screwdriver and simply unscrew it. It should be quite easy. So, and then the last screw comes off there, and we will just use a tweezer to get it off. So there, and now we have the mount off here. As you can see, the connection pin to the aperture is going through this gap here, so it can actually only sit in one position, as you can see. Now, to measure it as I see it, if you do anything wrong with the when you take off the focusing ring, as I will show you now, there are 3 screws around here. Let's see. One there, there, and there. Those 3 has to be unscrewed, and as we can see here, the infinity is correct in this case. So therefore we can just take it off. And the last one here. There's no need for those. No. So there. And then you can see it's loose at the moment. And then I can just pull it off. That's it. This is the stop. This bar here is the stop for the what do you say, the the near end, as we say. Now, here we can actually see inside, because this is how it works with the stop at infinity. So remember to make a mark here. It will say in line with the index mark here. And you can also make a scratch. No one will see it, but you can make a scratch down here, and it will be a little easier if we do so. Just remember it has to sit at the where the infinity is. Now it's also good to if you would like to do some adjustment, you can also make a scratch here, and if you want to sew, just for your own reference, set a mark here at this point. Oh, can we have some focus there? Set a mark here at the focusing ring here, and also on the front part of the focusing barrel. So that's it. Now we will take off the aperture ring. It's not really necessary in this case because I only want this part, I mean those 3 screws here, and then I can pull it out. But just for your information, I take off the 2 screws here on the aperture ring, because then yeah, I don't know what actually the name is, but when you focus to near end, this pin here for the aperture will be visible, more visible. So just put it back to infinity. Now unscrew it, because we need to make some measure. If something goes really wrong, it's good to have something in reference when assemble the lens again. So now go a little out, not much, but just as much as you actually can we'll just take off the aperture ring here. Nothing special about that. And then take out this piece here. Maybe it's not we have to move a little more out. Then it should be possible to take out. So as you can see, and then set it back to infinity. Now we need to make some measure, because how long is it from there to there? I have written down some, just a note. It will say at infinity from the back, which will say here, I mean here, to the front of the, I mean to the body, back to the, from the back of the body, let's say here, to the front of the aperture assembly, which is this part here, as I see it, is something like 82.10 millimeter. So we'll just measure it. So the lens, I mean the focusing has to sit at infinity there, and we'll just make a measure, something like that. That's fine. It will say you have a reference, so when you assemble, or I mean when you do something wrong maybe, and your focus will get out of, okay, something went wrong, you have a reference. So when you assemble the focusing system again, you can see, okay, it has to be something there, just as a safe thing. Now, to get into the aperture assembly and take the whole thing out, we need to unscrew this screw, and this screw. But before doing so, we will, where did it go here? I have made a scratch here already, and so you make a scratch in the gap here, and also on the each side of the gap here. So this is where the aperture is sitting when it sits correct. I mean, it could be different if the lens has been disassembled, assembled wrong. But in this case, it has to have the correct position. That's important. So just take that 3 screws out, and so but it is quite easy to get into the aperture system here. That's it. So, and yeah, we'll just lift it out. You can see here, and when I move the pin here on the back, it should do something. Yeah, so I can just take it out. So, see the scratch here? This scratch I set, and it's also here. So the same scratch here. So when I sample it, I can just put it in here. But we need to actually do it correct. So when moving the aperture, this is what's happened when I move the aperture connection pin here. So, and I also need to set the aperture pin to full open, which will say that position here. So that's it. And then we have the aperture assembly here. I can unscrew this tube, and then I have directly access to the blades, which I can do right now. You just unscrew it, and when you screw it in, you just screw it in again this way. But I will just unscrew it, and then all the blades will fall out. So there, and here we have it. So this is, yeah, just a tube. So, and if we look here, I can just fully open the blades here, as we can see them work. Very beautiful. So now remember how the orientation of the blades, as you can see here. So, and I can just simply lift up one of the blades and get it free. But sometimes they can be a little tricky to get out. Or I can just flip them around. So, and then they are free. So, there it is. And since we have this off, we just have to find out where this ring has to sit. You see, there's a little pin here. It's actually this pin here. So, just to make it more easy to when we assemble it, we have this pin here, and in line up here I'll just make a scratch so that we know the position has to be correct. It will make it easier when we assemble it again. So, off with all blades. So, off with that. Okay, the blades are made of, is it metal or what? Yeah, you can see it's made of metal. It's not plastic, in like many other newer lenses. So just jumping into the isopropyl alcohol, and they can just stay there a little. Then we can take a look here, and if we need to do anything about this, and or if this if this ring is let's say it's sticky because of oil from the focusing system, we can simply just take it out by taking off the 3 screws there, there, and there. Now, before taking it out, it's good to make a scratch here, as I told you earlier, there and there and there, because then the position is correct. There's a screwdriver here, just take that off. More tiny screws. There it is, so, and the last one. And just to make it more easy, we could also just make a scratch here. So now we have a reference where things sit when they sit correct. So that's it. Now I can unscrew the last screw here. So and in that way lift out this ring here, hopefully. Yeah, we can just push it out. Shouldn't be problem. See here. And then it's free. And as we can see, there are some dirt and dust or so. So now we know everything about this, and we can just also take out the aperture ring here. I mean, this that gets the blades to move. Also this ring here, that it has a pin that goes here in this gap. We need to take out. So, and there is a difference in the way it looks. This is more flat on the, say, underside, and it's more soft in the corners here. This is a more straight edge, so it has to sit something like that. Now, okay, this ring here can come off if there is any oil here in, and for that we will need a, where did it go, a flathead screwdriver. So there, as you can see, there. And before we actually unscrew it, I would guess, because the holes are a bit, let's say, is a bit long, as I see it, so maybe it's good to actually make one scratch on each side. So we can just do so. There and there. So it's fine. I will just only take one off because it's, I mean, there is no oil in here, so there's no need for fully unscrew it. I mean, if there is a problem with oil here, you just take off those three. So so we can see here, and something like that. So I will just put it on again, just because there's not really a problem in here, as so we need to put it back in again. There, and this screw here. So there, and we just have to see the plate is sitting correct. There, and this one here. So we just need to push it So now it sits correct. So gently tighten it. So that's it. Then we need to take up the blades and actually dry them so they are fine again. And it's good with a microfiber cloths, as I see it. So they are nice and fine again. And now the the last plate. Hey, come on here. And everything is fine, nice and clean. Yeah, there. So that's it. And yeah, just put this aside. So I can put in this ring. If there is anything on the side to make it more sticky in a way, we can, as you can see, there are some dirt, and it has to run free of oil. So, and we can also clean this a little, not really much oil on here, but so it will be fine. It's not really a problem. So, and there of course the tiny hairspring has to sit correct when we put it in. So I will just put this back in again. It will say it has to sit like this. See the pin here and this curve here have to sit correct. So when putting this in, it has to be something like that. So next thing is this one, and as you probably remember, I set a mark here, so it will be quite easy for me to find the other mark I set, which was something over here. And all those marks are simply just to make it easier to set things correct. So as you can see, it will sit something like that. And I also have my reference mark here, so this is why it is so important to set those marks, even if someone probably think, oh, you damaged it. No, because there is no one to ask about this. So there, that's why you have to make your own reference marks. And it will be there, and it was also fine over here, which we can see, so that's fine. So it's actually quite easy to put the blades in again. And there. So, and then we can just tighten them gently. No need for tighten them too much. So, and then it's all in line, as you can see. Now remember the little spring here. little hairspring here, it has to sit there. So sits like that. So when moving this, it should be correct. As you can see, when I move it, it will say this curved edge. So when moving the aperture ring, where was it? Here? No, of course, this one here. Something like that. So it's good to know it's working. Now turn it over and have your reference mark here with a little pin which sits underneath here, and it has to sit in line there. So this is how we start with one blade, and with a lens sucker it should be quite easy to put the blades where they should sit. It will say something like that, and if we move it, it will also move the blade. Now and then we can just go all the way around, and oh. So I can absolutely recommend it that you buy some of those small lens sucker. They're different type. This is an older type from Nordson, and it's a really good tool. There. The last one can be a little challenge to put in, because they have to go under other blades. So this one sits. Maybe you have to wiggle it into correct place. So there. Can be a little tricky. So now you see I need to open as I have the one hole up here, and the other one is something like there. So if it's possible to oh, the pin is over here and under here. It is where I have my mark. So if I can move this a little to close the aperture, just close enough as I expose the holes here. As you can see, and I miss 2 blades actually. It will be there. So the blades hold each other in place. Now the last one can be a little tricky, so one have to put the finger over the first one you put in and push this blade under it. So we do something like that. And as you can see, it can be a little tricky. We can just do so. Should be this one here. Have to go there. Where did my mark go here? So I need to open it a little more. And in that way get it into place. So now you can see it's a little tricky here. So one can push a hand here and then lift it up here, and then it's in place. And where's my mark here? So it should be possible to open the blades again, and now they are completely clean. Everything is really working really good, except there is something here. It's just something on. Now, so I simply just screw this front tube on here and tighten it gently, and now the aperture is working as it should. So if I move the pin here, this ring, and close the aperture, everything will work as it should. So if the connection pin, which is this one here, this pin here, it's this part will engage with the with this pin here, and the other this fork like pin, which is connected to the aperture ring itself, will actually connect to this pin here. So it should be quite easy to put it on in again. Just have the aperture fully open, so it's more easy. And this one will also go all the way up to here, and then it's fully open, as you can see here. Or we could just show it in another way. We do so, and then move this part, and then the aperture will be fully open. So this pin and this pin has to sit as close as possible. So when I move this, just for helping it, and press here, so it's in correct position, it has to be something like that. Then this pin here goes over here, and the other one here that sticks out, sticks in, goes to the fork. So, and I also have my reference mark here, which goes to where did it go? Here, as you can see. So everything should be okay in line, and one can actually, I know it's difficult to see or show actually, there, something like that, and simply put it on. So now we can hopefully see that it goes. I know it's difficult to see, sorry for that, but one needs to manipulate a little with it, and then okay, so this one has to go there and there. We just try again. One can actually move this part a little to get it into correct place, and hopefully it will do the trick. Hopefully we can move this, and as you can see, it will open and close the blade, so it's correct position. So beware of when you put this in, it has to sit correct. You just try to close it again and see if everything is okay. So now I can put the 3 screws in on the side of the into the aperture assembly. And since I have a mark here, everything should be lined up as it should, without any problem. Yeah, it's fine. And then the next 2 screws. Gently tighten the screws, and the last screw here. There, there, and there. So now I can just put in, extend the focusing a little, not too much, just because it's good you measure it. Now let's see if we can put this long fork in here. You see, it has to go over the pin down here, so it has to be there. And then you put it in the gap here. So you can see it sits correct. Then we can just set the lens to infinity again, and then it's safe place. Now on with the aperture ring. Can only sit in one position, and slide it in so it sits there. And then the two screws on the side. Just catch the two holes in the this fork, and hopefully we'll get the screws in. And here we are. So now you can fully open the aperture without any problems, and the connection pin is also working, so the plate looks really nice. The only thing I need to do is put the focusing ring on. So it's set to infinity here. Get the infinity mark here and then put it in over there. So this yeah, the screws here are countersunk, so they can only sit there. And you maybe wonder why I didn't measure when I assembled it again. It was just because I didn't take any part of the focusing assembly apart. This is just as a reference. So then I will take the mount. The gap is here, the pin is here. So just put it over and align the holes on the back and put in the screws. The screws here are in this lens is non-magnetic, so I mean they're really not that much magnetic. So see, they will not. Yep. So there, and the second one come here. If you want to use some thread lock, well, you could use Loctite 243, which will be okay in this case. So now, so everything is okay, and then put on the front lens group, and remember to loosen the set screw again. Just loosen it, don't need to come fully out. Will be something like there, and we just screw in the, take care of the thread. It's aluminium, so there, go a little backward to catch the thread if you can. So there, then screw it in. And tighten it good, and screw the little set screw in here. Now just need the rubber grip here to put on, and of course they can sometimes be a little it can break, but this one seems to be okay. So almost there. and has to go on to the very end here on the focusing ring and press it grips into correct place. So so that's it. It was actually that in this case. So if there was any oil in the aperture system, it would be the way we could, in an easy way, do it. So that's all for me. So hope you can use the info here. So bye bye.